Latest figures on the state of the nation don't make very happy reading. The economy is shrinking, which raises fears of a double-dip recession. Should we be worried? Personal finance expert Roddy Cohn joins us now live from Bristol. Hi, Roddy, are you worried?
No, I'm not worried, Kay, although I do agree that these figures don't make for great reading because, of course, politically and economically, by and large, what we all should want is to keep our jobs and to keep ourselves in a position where things actually improve for us, quality of life and so on improves. So these figures don't make for good reading in that sense, because what they're suggesting is things aren't going in that direction. In fact, what they're telling us is they're going in the other direction, and that's not good news.
Can we really put it all on the blame of the weather?
Oh, I doubt that very much, truthfully, but there's no doubt that certainly people may have stayed at home a bit more than they did if the weather hadn't been so bad. There's definitely some argument for saying for the construction industry, trying to work in those temperatures and conditions is very difficult, and so that would have had an effect. But I'm not sure it's fair to say that it was solely attributable to that. What's happened is that a lot of sectors have struggled during that last 3 months of 2010, and of course you can't afford for that to continue, because that affects jobs and taxation and all sorts of other day-to-day issues that affect every single one of us. So it's actually very important news, but at the same time I think we still have to keep focused and say what we can do to change data like this is for all of us to be more positive, to keep spending where we can, where it's practical and sensible to do so.
Is that not going to be more and more difficult, though, as the government's, as they would say, absolutely essential austerity measures kick in even more in the first quarter of 2011?
Yeah, it is difficult. I think, like everything else, most people don't actually plan to spend. They don't run income and expenditure budgets, just like some of our past Chancellors of the Exchequer seem to have been a bit remiss when it comes to balancing their books. So you are right, it's no quick fix and no easy way to do this. Although I have to say, Kay, you know, when you think the bankers can borrow at 0.5%, say, from government through the taxpayer, it would be a lot better if a lot of homeowners didn't have to pay 5 or 6% as the standard mortgage rate, which they're having to do, or if the government could put a bit more pressure on lenders to make sure homeowners were being offered long-term fixed rate loans so that they could plan better their expenditure and be less fearful, and therefore probably would then go out and actually spend on the high street.
So do you feel a double dip recession is on the cards or not, Roddy?
I think there's a very high risk of it in the current circumstances. I think the problem, Kay, is not so much just cutbacks, because actually what I'm noticing is that increasingly local authorities are putting up their bills. They're charging for services that previously were free. So again, that will take more money out of the pockets of householders. Car parking charges in regional centres across Britain are rising. That will deter shoppers and maybe force them to the bigger shopping sites away from town centres. And of course, that then again will have a knock-on effect. So I think it's a difficult quarter, this next one, and I suspect actually it won't be fantastic news, but we may get lucky and it may just bounce back enough. OK, always a pleasure, Roddy. Thanks. Now, let's talk about the Oscars. Colin Firth has been nominated for a Best Actor Oscar for